Good morning. Well, in literacy, we are looking at a new literacy skill that we are going to use in our job adverts at the end of this learning unit, and that is to recognize modal verbs. Now, I'm going to go through this presentation now, and I've attached two sets of worksheets for you. I don't know what order you will see them when you look at Seesaw, but as usual, can you do the fluency sheets first, please? Whichever order they come up on your Seesaw wall, do the fluency sheets first before you move on to the application and reasoning sheets. Okay, let's have a look at modal verbs. So, first of all, what is a modal verb? You can do some of the activities on a piece of paper that I'm going to go through on this presentation. You don't have to send these to me. You might like to pause this video to have a go at these activities as we go along. But first of all, what is a modal verb? Some of you may have an idea. Some of you may want to pause this video and look that up in a dictionary and find out what it is. Okay, so modal verbs. Modal verbs indicate to you how urgent something is. They will tell you what the possibility of something is, whether it's a maybe or a definitely is. And you can see a series of words here underneath this table, and I wonder if you can sort them out into those which are modal verbs. Those which are a maybe or a definitely, they would go on the left-hand side, and any ones which are not, they would go on the right-hand side. You can either do this on a piece of paper, or you can just in your head visualize which words you think go in which section. So just pause this video for a moment and have a go at this. Okay, let's have a look. Were you correct? Modal verbs, they show us how possible something is. So something can happen. It may happen, which it might happen. It could happen. It will happen, that's definite. It might happen, or it's something that should happen. Okay, so those are all modal verbs. They give us degrees of possibility. The others are not modal verbs. If we think something, it doesn't tell us if it's going to happen. Maybe, definite, no. Did, no. Achieve, try, finish, do. No, they don't tell us in any way how possible something is. Let's look at some questions. You're going to come across these types of questions on your fluency sheet. That's why I want you to do this one first. Which is the modal verb? Setting, wish, might, carrying. Which of those words describes something, how possible something is? Okay, and that one is might. So I hope you got that one right. Something might happen. That tells us how possible it was. What's the modal verb in this sentence? Maria would like to go to basketball club, but it is on Thursdays. Okay. She would like to go to basketball club. It's a possibility. She would like to go. It's a possibility as to whether she goes or not. Let's look at the next one. Which sentence tells you it would be a good idea for Charlie to join the relay team? Charlie ought to join the relay team if he runs that fast every time. Charlie can join the relay team if he runs that fast every time. Which one of those tells us if it's possible or not? Well, that one is he ought to join it. He should join it. Maybe you've noticed already that should and would and could, common exception words from when you were younger, are modal verbs. Could, would, should. They show possibility. They are modal verbs. And so any word which means could, would, or should is also a modal verb. So if you should do something, another way of saying that is you ought to do it. So as should is mobile, then so is ought. Let's look at the next one. Fill the gap with a modal verb which shows that the 7 p.m. meeting is certain to happen. Whatever happens, I something meet you back here at 7 p.m. Now, probably some of you are thinking, well, the word will would fit in there. Whatever happens, I will meet you back here at 7 p.m. But of course, we have other words which mean the same thing. So if it's definite, whatever happens, I will meet you there. What's another word that means will? Okay, well, in this one, it is shall. I shall meet you back there. Means the same as will. So as will is a modal verb, so is shall. Okay, those are the reasoning questions, and you need to complete the reasoning sheet first. And then I want you to do the reasoning sheet, but I'm going to go through some reasoning examples here. Please follow this very carefully because I want you to fill in this sheet correctly. Many of you, when you return sheets like this, you might answer the question, but you don't do the second part, which is explain your answer. And that is the most important part because it shows your understanding. So I want you to do these very carefully. So let's have a look at these examples. Dexter wants his sentence to show that winning is something he has to do at all costs. He must win. Whatever happens in the match, I could beat the other team. Has Dexter chosen the correct modal verb to convey this? Well, what modal verb has he used? Well, I've already explained to you that would, should, could words are modal verbs. He could beat them. Does that sound like he definitely is going to, whatever happens? No, it doesn't. It's saying he could do. He might do. So that's the wrong modal verb. So the answer is no, he hasn't chosen the correct modal verb, but I must explain my answer. And this is where you need to write down why he is incorrect. And we do that by saying what he should have done. No, the modal verb could is not certain. And then you would suggest a better one. Whatever happens in the match, I must beat the other team. So you would write down what you think is the correct one. That is your explanation. That's what I want to see on your reasoning paper. That's the first set of questions you'll come across. Let's have a look at the next ones. Rewrite the sentence below so that the modal verb may is in the correct position in the sentence. So if something may happen, it might happen. It rain may tomorrow, so you should take an umbrella. Well, that doesn't sound right at all, does it? So what should it be? And I'm sure you've worked that out. It should be, it may rain tomorrow, so you should take an umbrella. Yes, and I know that says Matt. That's a mistake on the PowerPoint. It may rain tomorrow, so you should take an umbrella. So there you've got to rewrite the sentence in the correct order. And this is the last set of questions that you'll come across on the reasoning sheet. Order the sentences below based on the necessity. That's how important they are, how urgent they are. And it's from least to most. Read the questions carefully. Make sure you get it in the right order. Least important, least urgent to most urgent. Okay, explain your order. A, I must order the cake for the party before tomorrow. That sounds pretty urgent. I must do it. B, I could order the cake for the party before tomorrow. That doesn't sound very urgent, does it? I could do it, but that seems to say to me that this person, they might do it, they might not do it. C, I ought to order the cake for the party before tomorrow. I should do it. I should do it. That sounds a bit more like this person's actually going to do it. So I've got to put those in order from least to most. That is the first thing. And that would be B, C, A. B says, I could do it. But as I said earlier, They might do. They don't sound like they don't know whether they will or they won't. They could do it. So it doesn't sound very urgent. So that's the least. I ought to do it. I should do it. That sounds a bit more urgent. So that's the second one. And then the last one is I must do it. Okay, so that sounds more urgent, more important. So that's least to most. Now, I have to explain my order, and what I expect to see from you is a written explanation of why you have put them in that order. Here's the explanation for this one. Could suggests possibility. Ought to suggests a possibility with a level of compulsion. That means, oh, I ought to do it. That means I should do it. Really, I have to. Okay. And must suggests compulsion. Must, yes, I have got to do it. Okay. So we've got some new vocabulary there. We've got possibility. We've got compulsion. You can use those words in your explanation, or you can simply write could because they might do it, ought to because they probably will do it, and must, they've got to do it. You might write your explanation something like that, or you might want to, if you're very good with vocabulary, as many of you are, you might want to use the words possibility and compulsion. But that's your explanation. Okay, so those are examples of fluency and reasoning and application. Do the fluency sheet first. Make sure your answers are full and detailed, and then move on to the application and reasoning sheet. I've had to attach that one as a separate activity, but you'll see that on your seesaw wall, and make sure you give me a full explanation, please. Read the questions carefully, and I know you'll do your best.